Well, welcome to another episode of Rise Above Noise, where I get the honor of introducing you to somebody in our community who's making a real difference and helping people with their business growth. You know, as a digital marketing strategist for over 15 years, I've been working with coaches, consultants, really transformation creators, people who are bringing people from one place in their life to a better place. And I know how transformation creators often can feel overwhelmed and helpless because you're trying to do all the things to grow your business, and it can seem overwhelming. So that's why I offer structure. I offer you a personalized roadmap for you to show up, right? Marketing is showing up. So show up in a way that you feel empowered, that you're holding your strength, holding your mission, holding your beliefs, and that you're showing up with ease and flow and consistency so the people who need you are going to be able to find you and learn more about you. So in today's spotlight with Carolyn, she's talking about balance too. She's talking about that balance between marketing and feeling like you're bothering people versus marketing and showing up. I love what she says, that you can't email too much. A lot of people don't want to email all the time, but guess what? If you don't show up all the time, people kind of forget who you are. So I like the way that she talks about that. So how you can introduce yourself, right? What are your motivations? What's your mission? How do you serve people? You're going to speak passionately about the work you do so that people will understand whether or not you're the person that they want to work with. So I know that you're going to enjoy today's conversation with Carolyn Choate. Let's get right to it. So before we get started with Carolyn today, I do want to, I'm going to share my screen and share now. I have something exciting for me. Anyway, you guys know I love all the toys and all the things. So I usually show you guys a keynote or like a PowerPoint slide for my Rise Above Noise 5 pillars. But today, my dears, I am trying Canva as a presentation. So let's see what we think about this. So you see a white screen, Carolyn, that says Rise Above Noise. All right, let's see how this works. So Rise Above Noise, it's if I say that marketing, and I offer you this as a mindset shift, right? Marketing is showing up. And so if you have any of those feelings about marketing, if you're ever like, oh, I don't like marketing, oh, I don't like email, I want you to know that there's somebody who woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and could not go back to sleep because they're having a problem. Whatever their problem is, it's keeping them up. It's just they can't get back to sleep. They're running it through their head over and over and over again. And so if you're the person that's going to be able to support this person who woke up in the middle of the night, it almost becomes your obligation to show up for them wherever they might be. Maybe they open their email in the morning and you give them a tip. They're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. You become the angel in the inbox. Or you put up a post with some kind of, again, a strategy and insight because you have this wisdom, and they're like, oh, that's what I needed today. So sharing your own content from your own place of wisdom in a way that supports the people you're here to serve. So that's the Rise Above Noise. That's my mission, right? That's my big why, is to help people to show up. But then you have to then you got to do the things. So Rise Above Noise is 3 pillars. Let's see if I can make this work. Good. The first pillar is understanding what your message is. What's your big mission? I just told you my mission. Who's your ideal client? And equally important is, what are your boundaries? Your time boundaries, your money boundaries, your support boundaries. Those are super important, and you want to get to know that. Now I'm going to go through these. They're not necessarily sequential, but they do tie in together. Then, of course, you need to create compelling content. You may have heard me talk about frequently asked questions or recording things into and then transcribing them. I do lots and lots of webinars and little pieces of information on frequently asked questions. It's creating compelling content that person that woke up at 3 in the morning needs to hear? How can you be that angel that shows up for them? Third pillar is proof of concept. That is understanding what stories you can tell. What are the case studies of people that have worked with you? What are people saying about you? What testimonials have you collected, and how can you share those so that somebody who's looking for support can say, oh, she's helped people just like me with this? Organizing and scheduling, I think we could talk about this probably for 6 months straight. Like, just what are the systems that you're setting up to protect those most precious assets that you have, which are your time and your energy? So understanding how you can batch your work, how you can measure the results of what you do, and how you can protect your time and energy using systems. And of course, I spend a lot of time in keep in touch, and we're going to talk about that with Carolyn today. Like, of course, I do digital marketing, so I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about email marketing and growing your list and nurturing your list, which is kind of where Carolyn lives as well. People are also wonderful about sending cards, direct messaging. Like, you got to have systems for all this, right? It's nice to have it in your heart, but as you're trying to scale, as you're trying to get to the next level, how do you do these things in a very strategic, mindful way? Contact relationship management systems are another way of doing that. So yay, my Canva things seem to have worked. I'm going to stop sharing there. Now, all of these pillars that I use just as a visual to pull together those like chaos things that you might feel in your head, like, all the digital marketing, there's so much to it, I can't even keep it straight. This helps me to organize it, but it's also that you as a service provider, transformation creator, can show up in service for those that you're here to serve. So that said, let's talk about how my friend Carolyn serves. We live in very similar, I would say, complementary areas. And let me tell you what her official bio is. All right. Carolyn is the funnel queen. I asked, let's see. So I asked, she just does all the funnels, right? And I know that she has done it mostly for authors at this point, but also other people. Now, I'm going to say, because I might forget to say this later, I want to say this now. Get on Carolyn's email list, because when you talk about giving generously and giving consistently, when you get on Carolyn's email list, and she'll tell you how later, you get weekly tips and insights, but you also get a weekly card drawing, right? Like an affirmation card or oracle card. And they're always like, there's something about them. You pick it, right? There's like 5 or 6 little cards there, and you like pick it. It tells you what your card is for that week. It seems to always align with wherever I am that week. So do that. So the name of Carolyn's business is Financially Free Author. Financially Free Author. She is the funnel queen. When I asked Carolyn what is her superpower, she said she sees funnels in everything. I need to know what you like. Do you just like walk through your house and go, oh, like what does that mean? You see funnels in everything?
It always feels like there's a path. Things are leading to other things in everywhere, in stories, in businesses, in conversations. There's always the next step and the next step and the next step that people are walking along that path.
Amazing. So maybe give me an example. So you just traveled. And you just went from where you live up to Massachusetts, and you're on vacation with your family. Did you see any funnels while you were visiting, while you're traveling?
Yeah, I stopped in Rhode Island along the way to visit a friend that I met through networking and through business. And so I got funneled into her world.
That's awesome. So what are some of the examples of, I think here's the thing, like when we say funnels, let's start with what's a funnel. Let's start there.
For me, the way that I define funnel is a little bit different. I look at it as a path, like a cobblestone garden path. And you've got your home at one end, And that's where you've got your offers. That's your website. That's where you want people to end up. But nobody knows that you're there. So
Mm-hmm.
you build a gate at the other end. You put a sign on it that says, I have these awesome things for this kind of person. Come on in. That's your lead magnet, your opt-in. The people that are going to be your ideal clients are going to open that gate and step onto the path, and you're going to guide them each step of the way through your emails, your community spaces. They come into your world and you lead them to your website gently so that they don't feel like somebody just dropped their hand and left them alone to wander, confused and alone. You want to know, like, what's the next step? What's the next step? What do they need to know? What can you tell them about what you do so that they get to know you, so they can make that decision about whether they want to work with you, and just keep on guiding them along until they're ready to say yes.
I like the way that you describe it, like a pathway to your door, and that the lead magnet kind of shows them there. One of the things I talk about, oh, in fact, I probably should have said this before, I have a free webinar coming up on Wednesday called Why You Need an Automated Email Sequence Now More Than Ever, which is, I don't do sales funnels as much as I do welcome emails funnels, right? And here's one of the things I say in that webinar, and is that we've all been there where we've signed up for something free, coupon, an ebook, a mini course or whatever, and they get your email, and maybe they send you the confirmation email, and maybe you get the thing right away, you download the thing, but then you don't hear from this person for a long time until they try to sell you something. And then you're like, I don't even know who this person is, and they're going to probably unsubscribe. And hopefully they unsubscribe and don't mark you as spam. Because when you're marked as spam, it's just not good. It's bad for your
Affects
everything, your
everything. That
algorithms and
affects
everything.
that affects all your emails.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I think people think that they're being kind by not sending many emails. They're like, oh, I don't want to bog down people's inboxes. We all get too many emails, so I'll just send an email when I have something to promote.
Yes.
But then people feel like you only care about them when you have something to promote. Or, like you said, they forget. And that's very likely because we all download lots of freebies. I mean, I know I do. So I'm assuming that everyone else is like that. And, if I'm getting 3 freebies a day, how am I differentiating who's who sent me what? Like, I need something more than that to really connect. Who is this person? So yeah, you want to ideally be the person that somebody recognizes when your email comes into their inbox. They go, oh, I know that person. That person is going to give me some value.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is to make sure that you're giving value, that you're not always selling. And I love the point that if you think you're being kind by not sending so many emails, and I get that from people, right? Like, I don't want to bother people in their inbox. I don't want to bother people, right? But understanding first that mindset of it's actually an act of service to show up. B, what Carolyn just said, which is gives value so that they get used to seeing your name and equating your name with content of value.
Don't just be another email in their inbox. Be the one email that they are looking forward to getting.
Yes.
And if they get 500 other emails that day, yours is the one that they go, oh, I'm so glad that's there.
Do you have a favorite series that you've ever created for somebody?
Oh, what a great question.
I just thought of that.
I always kind of feel my way into a funnel. It's all very custom because everybody is different, their audience is different, their message is different. And so I'm always thinking about who is their ideal client and what makes sense for where they get led next. But it's begun to kind of solidify into some patterns. And so there's the delivering of the lead magnet, there's the encouragement of utilizing the lead magnet, because if people never download it, never actually use it, then they're not going to get that transformation that you want for them. If you've given them this thing that's going to help them, help them to use it so that they actually can associate you with that positive experience. And then you got to tell them about you, which is another thing that has gotten a little confused lately because we hear so much to focus on the other person and it's not about you and nobody cares about you, like focus on your client. But there's a balance to be found there because they need to know, like, and trust you. They need to know something about you. You have to show your personality. You have to tell them a little bit about you. So what I love to do in the welcome sequence is to dig into your motivations, your mission, what inspires you, why you started your business, who you're trying to help. And, because you can speak so passionately about that, and it really brings people into your world and helps them to catch that vision. So that's my favorite thing to do with welcome emails.
I love that. And so when people come to you, I am guessing that they've been through like, oh, somebody should on them, right? Like they were like, somebody told me I should have a sequence and I don't even know what to do.
Yeah. Somebody told me I should have a funnel. What even is that?
Yeah. So where do you even start with them? And they're like, I don't know what I have.
Hmm. Yeah, so I do a funnel mapping strategy session now. And so we take about an hour, or sometimes it takes less, but about an hour to go through what do you have? How are you getting people on your email list now? What kind of freebies have you used? Have you used any at all? What different webinars do you have? Like, just lay it all on me. Tell me what your goals are. Tell me what things you want people to be actually purchasing from you. Like, what is your high ticket thing? What's all the different stuff you've created? And as I'm listening, it's sorting in my brain into a path.
Hmm,
That's my gift, that I can hear somebody talking about all these different things and I can see where they fit on the path. And
gotcha.
so we put together a funnel map so that people can really clearly see what I'm talking about and see how they already have so many of the pieces and they just maybe need to lay one more cobblestone in between because the step is a little too big.
One of the things too, and maybe you have some numbers for me, because I love what you're saying. Well, actually, no, I want to stay with what you're saying first, because then I had another question, but I jumped ahead. So I think what you're saying is often same thing that I say. You don't have to reinvent. You don't have, if you're thinking, I want to create, somebody should on you, and you're like, I should have a sequence or I should have a funnel. And you're like, oh, but I can't, I don't know I don't want to start something new. I think that what you said is very important, that people already have assets that they can use, that once it's organized and put into the correct platform, we'll talk about platforms in a second, then it's not like you're going to have to put your head down and create something new. Is that been your experience?
There might be some tweaks, some massages, but I think a lot of us get stalled in the creating new things.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be fun to create new things. And so you give your lead magnet like 3 weeks to work, and then you go, I better create a different one. So that's the trap that I see people falling into the most, and the one that I have to avoid as well, is really give your stuff a chance to work and don't go recreating it every few months. Like, you have the stuff, you've got the foundations, and maybe it just needs a little polishing up here or there, but really focus your energy and your attention on one path. Don't be trying to create 6 different lead magnets. Just focus on one and let that build up and lead people down that path towards the other things.
I love that part of it, because it takes a lot of pressure off of the client when you're like, what do you got? Let's see what you got. Right. And they don't have to create something brand new. Well, now I forgot the other point I was going to make. So let's talk about platforms then. When do you work within somebody, if they have, I know that you've worked at quite a bit in Kartra, you're working on Go high level now. You've worked in can you work in wherever they are, or do they have to move over to into your platforms?
I have done the work wherever they are. So I do the done for you funnel builds. After the funnel mapping strategy session, then it's a choice of you can take this map and go do it yourself, or I can build it for you in a week. And that is very much going into the systems that you have, assuming that you have a website and a CRM and email platform. So once we look at that map, we can say, okay, these are the software pieces we need. Do you have that covered or not? And does what you have really, is it working for you, or is it worth like looking at consolidating into a program that's more of an all-in-one? Because those can, a lot of us are like subscribed to 20 different things and they all have to communicate with each other. So I have a soft spot for these all-in-ones because it's easier to make everything communicate.
Right. If you know what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of them can be a little bit clunky, I think, right? A lot of people go to like some of the free options because at first they're easy until you realize, oh, it doesn't do this and it doesn't do that. Like once you understand, again, like we were talking about at the beginning, once you're ready to start scaling and
Mhm.
doing things in a bigger or more open or more accessible way, then you have to kind of look at the tools that you're using and make decisions on what's
Sometimes
best.
things are not what they sound like. Sometimes you end up using a program because it has a reputation for being a certain way, such as MailChimp,
Mm,
which people think of as the starter CRM, as the
mhm.
easy email, as the cheap, as free. And it's not.
No.
I mean, it may used to have been, but I went looking into it because I tried to build someone's funnel using MailChimp and I couldn't do it. And it was because on the free plan, you can't even schedule an email.
Right.
You got to manually send out every email. You
That's a
can't,
new thing, I think. Every month they seem to come up with a new
yeah,
barrier.
a new barrier. That's right. A new way of like, you have to pay more. Oh, you want that feature? You got to pay more. You want that feature? You got to pay more.
Yeah.
They claim to do a welcome automation. But when I looked at what that meant, it means you can send a single welcome email when someone joins your list.
Right.
You cannot send a sequence. So, it's one of the more expensive ones now. I had a client who we looked at it and he didn't even realize they had raised the price on him and he didn't notice. So had gone to $80 a month
Oof.
for just MailChimp.
Just right, just email. It doesn't even have the other things.
It's just email and it's not doing like nearly all the stuff that email is capable of doing for you.
Right. I do like their landing pages, though. I've worked in pretty landing pages, but the rest of it isn't worth it. Um, so, hey, buddy. So you work it.
But yeah, I'm very used to going into people's programs
Yeah,
and they're all similar enough that I can do it.
good. Well, you know what? We could talk about this all day long, and we have.
Yes, we
But
have.
for today, I want to make sure that you get some family time and that people know where to reach you and how to get started with you. So what does that look like to get started with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is financiallyfreeauthor.com. And from there, you can easily sign up for a funnel mapping strategy session. It's just $75. And then you get that actual diagram of the perfect funnel that's custom to you and your business. And if you would like me to build it for you, I can do that in a funnel by Friday. I just build them in 1 week. But I also have a free guide that if you already know, for example, what you want to be sending more traffic to, I have a guide called 20 Ways to Bring People to Your Funnel. And most of them are free. So you can get that at financiallyfreeauthor.com/free guide. And that will join you to the email list where you can also get those Oracle card draws every Monday.
Perfect. That's so good. All right, I will put those in the show notes and in the Facebook page. You guys check out. Now you have before I let you go, you have a very active YouTube channel. You're always giving. Like, talk about generous, you guys. Like, get all her resources. Talk about all the free stuff that she's offering, all the value. Like, check out her YouTube, and you have it organized as podcasts now, right?
I have my financially free author interviews. Those are Mondays at 1. So I just finished one before I came on here. And so those are all on there. And then I also just do a lot of education about bringing people to your website, how to set up funnels, how to do automations. And I try to keep it entertaining and fun from a heart center.
And you do. You guys, Carolyn and I are in the Idea Lab for Entrepreneurs community. We're talking today about what to call it because we've been called experts, and all of us always use like the air quotes with experts. And I think that we're switching over to being called mentors, but we're community leaders in the Idea Lab for Entrepreneurs. I highly suggest you go out and check that out as well, because that's where people are like taking their business thoughts and activities to the next level, building relationships with a national community of mostly coaches and consultants, but also other people in there that can help you support, find clients, or become clients.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Really nice group.
Carolyn, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. This is so much fun.
You guys contact Carolyn. You'll be happy that you did. And I will talk with you soon, my dear.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Carolyn as much as I did. I really enjoyed that we're in sync, Carolyn and I, when we talk about the need for all of us to show up in service. We have to show up in a way that doesn't feel selly. It doesn't feel pushy. It feels like we can show up in service for the people who need our products and services. And I also like that she talked about, as I often do, she talked about how we as the service providers don't need to necessarily create any more content. We probably have everything we need to create a good lead magnet, some good content for a funnel or a sequence that brings people closer to the value that we have. Go ahead, schedule some time with Carolyn, learn a little bit more, download her freebie. And if you have any questions, reach out to me or to Carolyn, right? So think about that, right? Now more than ever, I say this all the time because I mean it, now more than ever, we need our transformation creators to be successful in our ventures, right? We need you to show up in service and to make that difference in the world. How does it feel when you have a strategy that supports your business growth, but it also supports your resources of time and energy? You can see that the Rise Above Noise community revolutionizing how service professionals show up in our marketing to make a real difference in our world. I want to thank you for joining me today, for taking some of your precious time to listen in today. And as always, reach out to me if I can have any answers for you. And in the meantime, I'll see you on the next Rise Above Noise Spotlight.